As the notorious Marshall Mathers once said, "Hi, kids. Do you like violence? Do you want to see me shove 9-inch nails through each of my eyelids?" That's what this whole week is like. So, thank you for joining us. If you've been distracted by the news and everything else going on, if you've decided to spend some time with us instead of watching episode 1 of Space Force on Netflix, thank you. And for those of you in the comments who will say, well, maybe your parents will watch this. No, they chose literally anything else. Once again, thank you for joining us. I'm Remso W. Martinez with the rest of the team of Argos Paranormal. You can go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Hey Remso. We've got producer and director Ryan Martinez. He's the little white kid that looks like the villain from Toy Story 1 in the corner. And we've got our other lead investigator and cameraman, Brian Sujanen, online. He's in a house full of women, so please pray that he does not kill himself like Jeffrey Epstein. Other than that, we're really happy to be here with you tonight. We've got another live commentary episode of an episode from season 1, which really, as I was rewatching this investigation, it's a two-parter. We're only going to watch part 1 tonight. It really reminded me as to how far we've evolved as investigators. Looking back, I was a little green around the gills, really trying to understand things. We all were. And this episode really kind of pushes us because we capture some amazing evidence, but you get to see us get a little frustrated sometimes. And then you also get to see how we react when things really get weird. Brian, what do you remember about this place?
Oh my God, the foyer with the fireplace and the chandelier. I think that's this episode that we're going to watch tonight. Yeah, I mean that. So first of all, this is the first time you guys had me actually do an investigation, right? And it wasn't like you guys just like watched me do it, right? You're like, hey, go in this bathroom that's supposed to be haunted, right? And then you guys just took off downstairs. So I was up there by
Talk to the
myself. So I
flashlight in the
had that going on.
bathroom. We'll be back.
That's right. Yeah. It was surreal, right? I was like you said, I was green still, and it was like weird, like doing this. I'm like, I wasn't sure if I was comfortable doing it yet, but I was like, well, I've watched you guys do it enough, so let's just give it a go. But yeah, definitely the crescendo for this episode, and everybody's going to get a chance to see it if they hang out with us long enough, is when we're in the entrance to the inn. It's the room, that the small room with a fireplace, and there's a chandelier, and we're having a conversation with some nice entities, and asking them to turn some lights on. Right? Yeah, nice. Right? And they're, we have some good feedback, and then all of a sudden, well, I'm gonna just let everybody
Things get
watch.
real.
But yeah, it does get real, and Ryan's reaction is probably more unnerving than what actually
Some would
happened,
say
right? Because
horrifying.
yeah, just so hopefully he feels brave enough to stick it out and defend himself. but I mean, for me, it was like to see somebody have to react that way. I was like, oh my gosh, is this getting real? And it definitely did.
Absolutely. You
So
definitely get to see how we react when we don't know how to react. And
yeah,
as I watch that scene again, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, not to spoil anything. I'm like, move, brother, move. It's like you got to do something. But yeah,
yeah.
definitely, it'll be great to see us get to relive that moment again. Ryan, how you doing right now? You're getting things set up on your end, the person that makes all the magic happen. What do you remember from this episode? Because you actually went on your own to go ahead and, talk to the owner and everything. You got to do a quick walkthrough by yourself. What were your feelings going into the investigation as you were setting things up, and what were you anticipating would happen once we actually got the place to ourselves and started investigating?
Well, for those who are unaware, my family and I, we've been in Virginia since about 2008. And one of the first places that we went to when we moved here to Northern Virginia was Occoquan. And when you walk around Occoquan, you're going to see a lot of old historic locations. And one of the places that we visited was the Occoquan Inn. And what really kind of struck me about the Occoquan Inn is the legend about the Native American man, the innkeeper's wife, who were having an affair. And one day, as the Native American man was descending the steps to the inn, the innkeeper shot the Native American dead on the steps. And since then, women who go up to the second floor of the inn, use the restroom up there, they feel this oppressive energy in there of them. Some have felt a man touching their hair and all that. So this is probably one of the first ghost stories local to this area that I had heard of. So years later, when we started doing the show and I had to think about places I wanted to go and investigate, the Occoquan Inn automatically came to mind because to me, this is a local ghost story. So to be able to go there and investigate whether this legend is or is not true, it definitely put a lot of pressure on me. At the same time, it was also kind of exciting to actually go and see if there's any truth to this legend.
Absolutely. I mean, to finally get a chance to go there after like 9 years, it was so strange because I remember us talking about it as kids again to go there, to actually go there as actual ghost hunters. It was it was crazy. And even though this was later in the first season, this was really one of the first places we got to investigate. And this is including the first series that we did, Haunted Republic. Not a lot of people know this. We filmed our Haunted Republic solo series in almost rapid succession. It was almost like within a couple of weeks, we had the first 3 Haunted Republic documentary films up. And then we took about, I want to say 4 or 5. No, it was like 6 months. We took like 6 months off. And then as we were filming for the Witching Hour, this was actually one of the first locations we did. So even though
the very first location.
Yeah, it was the very it was the very first one. Yeah. So even though this was not episode 1 was Port Conway.
Bell Grove.
Yeah, Bell Grove. This was our first investigation. So you might think, watching this in chronological order of episodes, like, what the hell are these guys doing? They should know better. No, we didn't know better. We had done a whole bunch of stuff, filming with iPhones, screaming into the darkness, getting assaulted by crazy invisible crap. And then we take a long break, watch Constantine on Netflix, a couple episodes of Ghost Adventures, think we're hardcore, and then we go to this place. It's humid. I walk into walls, and then we're all running around trying to find stuff happen, and then we get frustrated. And then when things finally do happen, we don't know how to react to it. This is as raw of an episode as you're probably going to get from us. So watching it again, I was definitely like, oh God, like, why am I doing that? Why are we doing this? And then you'll see why we did it, because things do actually really pay off.
Well, what's interesting is that last year when I entered a show in for the 10th annual Indie Series Awards, I had to pick an episode, and I personally thought that Occoquan Inn Part 1 was probably one of the best episodes we put out, because we truly put the investigator into paranormal investigator. We didn't know anything about we didn't know what type of evidence previous investigators had collected at the restaurant before going here. So everything was new to us. We did not know what to expect. And as Rems has been saying, everything that you're going to see is just our raw reactions. And aside from the editing, cinematography, it's definitely a very unique and memorable episode.
I do want to talk about one thing before we actually begin the episode. The one thing that the Ghost Adventures crew on Travel Channel gets a lot of praise for, and I believe rightfully so, is a lot of the mid scenes where you get to see people reenact certain parts, where you get to see people pretend to be the ghosts and everything. And the one thing that we tried to master, this is really the filmmaker coming out in us, is the art of getting those captured sequences. So you'll see in the episode, towards the beginning of the opening credits, you'll see this one swinging door that goes that takes you from the main hallway into the kitchen. And what we wanted to do to kind of amplify the feeling of this place being very active and stuff is we would push that door and we would try and capture it in like 10 seconds. So that's a scene where, no, that wasn't haunted. That's just something we're trying to do to bring in some ambiance to the episode. I swear to God, we had to push that door for like 30 minutes so you could get the proper angle. And I'm just there, like, I can't keep smacking it. My skin's peeling off. I'm getting tired. This place is humid. How many times are you going to move the camera in and out and in and out and in and out? And I'm looking at you like, I don't think this is going to work. And it worked. So while the episode itself, the scenes in between everything is really well done, at this point, I never knew how much work it took to get those slight sequences that most people often ignore. It's only like a few seconds of that swinging door, but I watch that and I'm like, that was 30 minutes of my life I'm never going to. And since then, collecting B-roll has turned almost into an art form that went from terrible to we love the challenge.
Yeah, B-roll is absolutely the big challenge. Like, recording the actual investigations themselves, when we get set up and we start rolling and we get into it, that kind of like takes care of itself. But then the big challenge is like, what do we capture that puts people in the setting and allows them to feel like they were there with us, right? And so you brought up and people will see this, the door swinging, and it's like it's butter. I mean, it's perfect. And I commend you for slapping it for 30 minutes.
So many times.
Yeah,
so many
but
times.
That's exactly what it takes, though. I mean, we'll spend more time doing B-roll sometimes or it feels like we're spending more time doing B-roll than the actual recording of the investigations themselves, because you're busy picking out the important bits and pieces about the location, what's going to immerse somebody into the scene with us so that they feel there and feel connected to the place.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, a lot of people, they're not going to be able to visit the locations we go to. So we want them to be able to see what we see when we're there. So we have to capture every little angle of the place. And sometimes it means, as you've been saying, Brian, we have to stay there for a while. And the one thing that I really hate about B-roll is that it pisses off spirits. For example, one of the episodes that's going to be coming out soon, which was filmed at the Warrenton jail, those spirits there, they did not want me filming B-roll. I kept getting growled at. I kept hearing cell doors slam. I got scratched a couple times. And at one point I lost my shit and I said, listen, if you guys keep bugging me, I'm not going to be able to finish my shit right now. So you really need to back the fuck off.
We just got demonetized.
So it's tough because you really have to nitpick at every little thing.
Yeah.
And for example, just opening, closing the door, it's disrupting their feng shui if you think about it.
Yeah.
So collecting B-roll, it's a pain at times.
This is really the first time
where we understood the model as to how we're going to put the show together. We know what we need to collect. And even though it's not compared to what we do now, I look back and I'm like, oh, Ryan was really just learning the art of post-production. But even then, I look at this episode and everything from the drone footage you captured to just the memory of the swinging door. It's perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started. We've got people watching live right now. Do us a favor over in the comments, or maybe it's the other way. I can't tell anymore. One way or another. Wherever the comment bar is, you know how the internet works. Go ahead, drop your comments, leave your questions. We'll go ahead and read them between parts as we stop along. And if you want to go ahead and talk to us on Twitter, you can go ahead and find me at HeyRemso, HeyRemso, and Ryan at Paraproducer. Paraproducer. I had to remember how to spell that on Twitter. But for the fastest reactions, go ahead and find us in the comments. Other than that, I think we're all set, Ryan.
Yeah, let's get rolling.
Yeah, like I'm hearing like walking and crashing upstairs.
I'm getting some activity over here by the bathroom.
Yeah.
One year, one of my servers went upstairs to the ladies' room and couldn't get the door open. It wasn't locked, but she was pushing the door, and there was resistance behind the door. So she came flying down here, like just about in tears. We all went up there. By then it was over with. That's what she said.
So someone first told us there was a woman up there. Then it was a child. Correct.
Were you killed? Did someone kill you here? If you're in the bathroom with Ryan, can you please turn on the light?
Can you point to where you are one more time? Please point to where you are one more time. You saw him not moving.
Located along the Occoquan River in Prince William County, Virginia, the town of Occoquan was originally settled by the Dog Indians. Colonization efforts in the 18th century resulted in the tribe being forced off their land in order for the colonists to establish the land as a mill town. The town would later play a role during the Civil War, since it had one of the last post offices to deliver mail to both the North and South. Located within this historic town is the Occoquan Inn. Legend has it that when the Native Americans were forced off their land, one Native American decided to stay behind because he was having an affair with the innkeeper's wife. One night, while descending the stairs, he was confronted by the innkeeper, shot in the chest, and was left on the staircase where he would later perish. Today, some people feel an oppressive energy around the staircase. One can assume it is the spirit of the murdered lover. The investigators of Argos Paranormal had previously investigated this location and encountered an abundance of activity, ranging from ceiling lights turning on and off, footsteps from the second floor, and even getting the spirits to turn the flashlights on and off. However, all of this activity left the group with more questions than answers, but the one thing they concluded was that whatever was causing the rampant activity in the restaurant seems to be rooted in the women's restroom on the second floor. This led the investigators to revisit the location to understand why the restaurant is regarded as not only one of the most haunted locations in the area, but to see if the building's long-lasting history has resulted in the spirits being unable to move on. To discuss the history of both the restaurant and hauntings is Gary Savage, the owner of the Occoquan Inn restaurant.
This building was built in 1780 I think as a private residence first. And then it was an inn for a while. It was a field hospital during the Civil War. And it was a garage for a while. Down below that, it was a garage for repairing cars. And it was a funeral parlor for a long time. A lot of next door was original. This side of the building was rebuilt in '73 after Hurricane Agnes, or Tropical Storm Agnes. This side of the building was destroyed, so this has been rebuilt. So, one year, next door in the inn, the dining room, all the silverware on the tables was reversed. So in other words, your forks are on the left, knife on the right. They're all reversed. We came the next morning. And nobody would do that. And one year, one of my servers went upstairs to the ladies' room and couldn't get the door open. It wasn't locked, but she was pushing the door, and there was resistance behind the door. So she came flying down here, like just about in tears, going up there. And by then it was over with. That's what she said.
Yeah, so I mean, just off the bat, one thing that I absolutely love about this episode is this is the first time that we ever actually experimented with drone footage. And we don't often get this, depending on the location and the local drone laws, that, you know, sometimes really hamper what we can do. But just right there, those aerial shots that Ryan was able to collect are absolutely beautiful. That's one thing that I just fall in love with this episode with each and every time I watch it. And I mean, that is stuff that a lot of people used to think, you have to have like a Travel Channel, Discovery Channel size budget. But the truth is, you can get quality drones online anywhere, and they can be remarkably easy to handle once you really learn how to do it. Ryan, what was your experience like as you really began to jump into collecting drone footage? Because this is probably the best example, even compared to the future episodes we've done, of just what you can capture with drones and how you can really begin to compete with, more higher budget shows that used to be the only ones with this capability.
Yeah, so what's great is that a lot of the technologies which were found in higher budgeted productions out in Hollywood, they've now been condensed in size, and they're now more affordable to consumers. DJI, Parrot, and there's many other manufacturers who will develop drones for independent filmmakers, and everything is now a lot cheaper. You're using the same type of technology that production crews are using on reality television shows. So to be able to go to your local store, purchase a consumer drone for close to $1,000, yeah, it's a lot, and to be able to capture footage of all these locations, it's pretty surreal.
What was your kind of evolution with drones? Because that's always what people are asking you. What did you start with? What are you currently using? And what were some of the challenges you faced along the way? Because we've gone through, I think, like 4 or 5 different drones, and some of them were better than others. But then again, we also ran into problems, regarding some technical issues we faced. And then there were things that we just had problems with, whether it was being allowed to actually operate a drone in certain airspace, or whether or not weather and things like that got in the way.
Yeah, so drones is an entirely separate topic in itself, and that could be a whole completely different live stream. But I'll try and summarize as best as I can. So when it came to figure out which drones to get, I obviously had to look at the camera quality for a drone. And I also had to look at its size, because back in 2017, drones were pretty big. They would take up like half a person's trunk space in their car. It's not like now where they're the size of an iPhone. So back in 2017, I started out with a drone called the Parrot Bebop 2. It's a pretty small drone. It's about the size of an iPad. And it worked out great. The only issue is you needed a strong and reliable internet connection. And a lot of the places that we go to, there's poor cellular, there's poor Wi-Fi connections due to like a lack of infrastructures. So oftentimes it's really hard to be able to get your drone flying. Another thing is weather. It's a big thing. Drones, they cannot operate well in colder temperatures. More specifically, if you're in an environment that's below 50 degrees, Fahrenheit, you're going to notice your battery life drain quickly, your controller's going to malfunction, and even that Wi-Fi connection between your phone, which is being used to control the drone, and your drone, there's going to be a lot of disruptions. So eventually, I decided to get this drone from a Japanese manufacturer. It's called the Unique Typhoon 4K. And this drone, let me tell you, it's massive. I drive a Hyundai Santa Fe Sport, and this drone took up my entire trunk space. It would also take about 10 minutes just to get set up, because you have to install the propellers each time you're getting ready to use it. And I only had that drone for a week, because on my second test flight, the drone lifted up, then it flew towards me. I had to duck, and it flew into my garage. So since then, I say that drone tried to kill me. And because of that technical error, I then took it back to Best Buy. I was like, this thing is fucked up. I then traded in for the DJI Mavic Air. It's a very small drone. It's about the size of an iPhone. It can fit in your backpack. It's easily portable. And the camera, sensor, and processor and all in there, it's great. And that's what we were using for this episode. So we're able to shoot 4K Ultra HD footage of the entire Occoquan region. And the best part is the drone, it's easily portable. Never did I realize that portability was crucial until it came to filming this show. Remso,
what else do you want to know?
No, I think we're set. We can go ahead and play the footage.
All right.
it was over here where what happened to you the last time?
I just got really dizzy, and it's just like, I just kind of blanked out. Just wasn't myself.
Back table right here.
Yeah.
So we just turned on our little spirit box so it can help you communicate with us. So whoever just turned on our light right there, can you tell us your name? Is this a woman we're speaking with? Yeah, so it is a woman, okay.
Hey. You're moving around, aren't you?
Investigation.
Yeah, we are investigating.
It said you're here for investigation.
Yeah, do you remember us?
You.
So you remember me?
I was talking to you.
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to Renzo?
My answers.
Where's the woman we were just speaking with? Huh?
I don't understand that. Can you please say that again? Is there more than one person here?
Scar? Do you have a scar? Is the woman, is her name Lindsay? Because last time we were here, we spoke up a woman, her name was Lindsay. Is Lindsay here with us right now? So here's, I honestly think it's a woman here, because each time I reach out to the woman, we get an interaction. When it's a male, nothing happens.
He doesn't like you talking about it.
What the hell are you talking about right now?
He doesn't like it when you talk about it.
How do you know all this stuff?
Because he's just...
Okay, well the light's
just
on,
there.
so it's a possible
Hi there.
confirmation.
Yeah, so I want to talk about this part because this is something that I don't usually discuss with folks, but it's, this is an example of something that many people encounter, but they don't often talk about because they're afraid of how it's perceived. For anyone that knows anything about the paranormal, you understand that we live in a world that is beyond the physical sometimes. And with that, people have various degrees of sensitivity. In my family, it's a little bit more prevalent. We don't often talk about a lot of the things that we encountered growing up. I can tell you that both Ryan and I and our mother have experienced situations that other people might not. And it's usually something that occurs when we're in a haunted location, for example. What you're watching on camera right now is really a intense moment for me because essentially, it's not that I'm hearing voices. It's not that I'm just seeing things pop into my mind. It's that really I'm getting a gut reaction. I think the best way to kind of label it is as a sixth sense. And I truly believe that a lot more people have this sixth sense that basically gives them this intuition of what is occurring around them. We just don't like to talk about it, but we call it your gut feeling for a reason. And this is an example of when that gut feeling isn't just something that I feel, because feelings can be very, all over the place sometimes. It's an example of me getting an intuition that is actually corresponding to what's going on in the room. We're seeing this with the lights. We're seeing this with sounds and movement. We're getting this through the Phasmabox. In the last commentary that we did for the Bell Grove episode, I talked about it. What we need are different we need different layers of evidence in order to basically verify whether paranormal activity is happening. And while it is something that you can experience while watching TV, it is something that, as an investigator, if you're willing to trust that side of yourself, can be often pretty reliable. In some cases, it's just, nothing. In cases like this, for example, it could absolutely be overwhelming, and often you don't know how to really handle it. I'm very prone to migraines. That's something that I've always had to deal with, and in that moment right there, I can definitely tell you that my head is splintering. I'm getting this overall feeling of dread. I'm being overwhelmed with just all these emotions that don't really feel like they're mine. And by just kind of saying out loud the stream of thought that I'm having, I'm able to let Ryan know, who's filming this, what's also kind of going on from me behind the Phasmabox. So that way, maybe it can add to the investigation. Am I saying I'm psychic? No. Am I saying I'm a medium? No. But people have different levels of sensitivity that I think a lot more people have. We just don't often talk about it because it's often one of those things where people are quick to shut it down. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Hear that?
No, what is
As a child?
Well, I don't know if there's a child here.
I don't know, but you heard hi there. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a child here, isn't there?
Mine. Your child? Your child.
So, who are we speaking with right now? Remso's saying there's a man over here. I keep saying there's a woman over here.
Atkins.
Well, it is colder right here. Like underneath the table. When we turn the lights on, we should see if there's like any vents over here.
I mean, there's a draft coming in, but
Yeah.
it was different. It felt like you could feel a draft. This one felt like it was just like everything was just getting colder.
So this is probably the one place that we didn't investigate. I mean, we were here for like a whole 5 minutes, but we didn't get really anything. There's no vibes or anything. So I think tonight we might want to spend a little bit more time here at some point. Well, honestly, the biggest thing you're going to find is that it's just hotter than sin.
You go first. You seem calmer up there than me.
It's because it's like a fucking oven.
So earlier I had talked about the legend surrounding the Occoquan Inn. And one of the things that Gary Savage had told us during our initial walkthrough of the inn was that the staircase that we're walking up right there, that's the original staircase that was with the inn when it was built in the 1700s. So there's a high possibility that that Native American man's blood could still be stained on that staircase.
Like right here, you feel a giant temperature drop. You see what I'm talking about?
Oh my gosh.
It's a freaking furnace up here. This is a freaking like sauna. Here's a chair I was in. So the EMF reader's picking up stuff throughout the room.
I'm getting some activity over here by the bathroom.
Yeah. So I come and stand back here where I was, and yeah, I'm getting a lot of that high-pitched noise reading.
Well, yeah, I'm getting a lot of that on the stairs as well.
So we know it's the room. The room's charged. It's kind of weird though because none of the outlets work.
There's definitely more EMF in this room right here than compared to the bathrooms over there. Hello, is there anyone here with us tonight? Renzel's holding a box that you can speak through. If you can speak through, can you tell us your name? We're told that this used to be an inn, and that a Native American man used to come here and sleep with the innkeeper's wife. Do you know if that man is still here?
No.
Okay, well, who is that? Are you the innkeeper?
Are you a man? No.
Are you a woman?
Woman.
Are you on this floor with us? Are you the one that likes to hang out in this bathroom over here? Our friend Brian, the last time he was up here, he spoke with a woman who was in that room over there. Do you usually like to hang out over there? Yeah?
Yeah.
You are? Are you in there right now? If you're in there right now, can you try using all of your energy to open up that door? Can you open it for us?
No. Did you see that?
No.
It's like something peeked around.
Well, I see some flowers on that door.
No. It was like something peeked around. I saw that the last time we were here. So there was like someone peeked around. Did you peek around?
Did you peek around that little doorway right there? Are you a child?
Okay, so just as a disclaimer, it's been years since we filmed this episode. From what I remember, I thought I saw like a shaded, shadowy figure pop out of there. The more that I've thought about it, and I often think about this with a lot of things, I don't know if I actually saw that. Like, I think at the time I thought I saw something, but looking back, it may have just been a moment where, because I'm kind of unfamiliar with the place and it's hotter than balls in there, it's one of those things where if you ask me, did you actually see something? I'm gonna openly admit I really don't know. I do know that everyone else other than me has had an experience in that bathroom, and you're gonna see Brian actually go in there in a few minutes. Brian, what was kind of you brought it up earlier. This is one of the first opportunities where we kind of just like threw you into it and said, fly, don't fall, fly. What were some of your thoughts as you checked out the place? I mean, you hear us bitching about this the entire time. That place is just freaking hot. But I think when you came, it was freezing. There is no middle temperature with that place.
So what I recall about that upstairs floor is it fluctuated between being hot and cold. So I think earlier in the evening it was hot, and then later in the evening it was cold. And we were talking about that, maybe informally. But, just talking about doing the investigation for the first time on my own, I got to admit I was a little unnerved, I guess. Like I said earlier, you guys were like, "Hey, good luck," and you like went downstairs or something to the other part of the inn, which was I was like, okay, I got to do this. I got to be brave, and I got to make it look good. You handed me a camera and a flashlight, and yeah, we got some good footage there, and I'll never forget that moment, honestly.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Brent was holding a box that. If you're in there right now, can you try using all of your energy to open up that door? Can you open it for us?
No.
I'm gonna throw this chair out. I'm not even in the chair.
Did you see that?
No.
It's like something peeked around.
Well, I see some flowers on that door.
No. It was like something peeked around. I saw that the last time we were here. So there was like someone peeked around. Did you peek around?
Did you peek around that little doorway right there? Are you a child? You've spoken with a child up here before.
Let me out.
Where are you?
Here.
Are you in that room over there with the door that's closed?
Do you want me to open the bathroom door?
If you want that bathroom door open, you gotta say yes. Or at least knock on something for us.
No.
Is that you that just knocked? If that's you that knocked, can you say yes through our little box?
No.
After we finished our spirit box session on the second floor, we decided to analyze our footage to see if the shadow figure I witnessed appeared in our footage. However, the video yielded no results, indicating that either there was nothing there or the camera angle prevented it from appearing in the frame.
Super creepy up here by myself. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to spend a little bit more time upstairs and see if we can get either the innkeeper or somebody else to talk to me. There's a lot of activity still going on in the basement of this building because there's a burn down there that's going to close at 1 o'clock, and so we are hypothesizing that maybe there's just too much activity, and then having the three of us together in a room, maybe it's a little intimidating. So we decided maybe against better judgment, to split up and conduct our own sessions. And so one of the unique things about the upstairs here, there's a men's and women's washroom and women report, just sort of feeling a very sense of something watching them or being in the bathroom with them when they're up here, and which is interesting. So I'm gonna conduct a session in there and see if we can communicate with anybody. This is me convincing myself it's okay. So check it out. The light is on. Hey, so if you turn that light on, you're in here with me. Oh, okay. All right. So who am I talking to? Am I talking to a man? Turn the light off if it's a man. Turn the light off if it's a man. Woman? Are you a woman? Go ahead and turn that light off if you're a woman. Okay. So we are in a women's bathroom. So did you live here at one point? Are you the innkeeper's wife? If you're the innkeeper's wife, I'm going to go ahead and turn that light on for us so we can get to know you better. Are you somebody else? Go ahead and turn that light on if you're somebody else. Oh, okay. Interesting. You're a woman, right? You turn the light off again if you're a woman. Just double checking. Are you not sure now? Maybe now you're a man? I hear stories about this bathroom. Do you know anything about that? What do you do? Okay. What do you know about it?
Brian, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
You were conducting the session. How did you feel? Were you calm or were you freaking out?
Like I said, sort of in the little monologue leading up to this scene, I was convincing myself it was okay. Once I was in there and actually conducting the session, you sort of have to forget about everything and just focus on the task at hand. So I think that's where I went mentally, and I was just trying to be as scientific as you can be in a situation like this, right? So you saw me like trying to discern if it's a woman or a man, and then clearly in the scene, it looks like the respondent flip-flops a little bit, right? So it starts out being a woman, and then it becomes a man. It was at that point where I was convinced that maybe we're dealing with an entity that wasn't taking the question seriously, I guess, is one way to put it. But again, this is the first time I ever actually done anything like this, actually on camera. I'd, done some investigations prior to this with you, Ryan, just sort of as practice, I guess. But this is the first time sort of on my own in a location. And I started to feel like maybe not like a sense of fear or anything like that, or anything scary or unnerving necessarily, but it was just like, okay, I think, whoever's responding to me is just not taking this seriously. And I think we end up in that situation more often than we'd like to admit, right? Where, we just get something responding to us and they're just like, whatever, 1 minute they're a kid, 1 minute they're, a woman, or they just don't know. So this is my first experience with that, really, personally. And so that's sort of how I left it.
Okay, that makes sense. So needless to say, you were kind of nervous going into it, but once you were there and you started getting some responses, you kind of calmed down a little bit and you're like, okay, we just need to figure out what's going on right now.
Yeah,
Mixed signals. Okay.
It felt like a job, right? Like I was there to do a job, and like you have one job, right? So, and so, yeah, that's kind of how I approached it.
Okay, that's great to hear.
Women come in here, washroom, and then do they get a little freaked out, a little scared, a little nervous? Something in here that causes them to be uncomfortable? Is that what's happening? Go ahead and turn that light off. Thank you. So who's doing this? Is it a man? Is it a man that's causing this? Is it a man causing the women that come into this bathroom to be uncomfortable?
Hello. Did you just turn on our little torches on the chair? Trying to. Okay, I see that the other torch is turning off. Can you turn it off all the way, please?
How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
What's that? We didn't catch that. What's your name? Brett. You're Brett?
Is it Brett? If it's Brett, can you turn on both lights? Is it Ben? The light's here? Yes, the light's there. Turned them earlier.
You turned.
It's not a trick. It's not a trick.
Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Are we speaking to the man in the fireplace?
Remso, real quick, you just mentioned the man in the fireplace. What can you tell us about that moment right there? Because I don't think that was covered in the intro to this episode.
Yeah,
This is one of those legends that pops up that you have to really do kind of a give and take with. One, enough people know of it, so that way it might have some legs to it. And then secondly, there's really no evidence of it. So then you really have to wonder, is this just folklore or not? Apparently, people over the last decade or so, when they have turned the fireplace on for certain events and things like that, they say that a face will appear in the flames in the fireplace. And I mean, that's one of those things where it's like, okay, it sounds really scary, but, you know, do we have a photograph? Do we have a video? Do we have anything? We don't have any of that. And the one difficult thing about this is that, like, we can't turn it on. We don't have any wood. We can't turn it on. We certainly don't have permission of the owner. We don't want to catch something on fire. So I almost feel kind of silly. This is kind of like last week when we were like super tired at like 2 a.m., like talking to the house at Bell Grove at the caretaker's house. Now it's like I look back at this. I'm like, this is kind of silly because here we are. We're expecting to talk to a fireplace, hoping that maybe we'll get evidence elsewhere. But then again, you know, what would have been the best thing for us to do? The best thing for us to have done would have been to try and light the fireplace and then included that in it. I think right now, what gets frustrating is that we're like, okay, we can't light it on fire to try and repeat what everyone else did to try and experiment with it. So what are we going to try and do? We're going to try and talk to whatever entity is there. Maybe it's fixing the fireplace. Maybe it's roaming throughout the inn. We don't really know. So really, this is one of those situations where we kind of have to work with what we got. And we still get something out of it. But, you know, word to the wise, if you're going to repeat an experiment and you have the ability to repeat it the way that other people have, the best way to do it is to try and do it. I think if we were to go back again and repeat it, I would specifically say I want to be able to light the fireplace. Can we provide the materials to light it, or can you help us light it? Yeah,
They just let us do it.
They would just let us do it. Yeah, I think they would. Maybe we should go back and try. Who knows? But yeah, definitely, if you can repeat the experiment the best way you can, do it accurately and try and try and do it, or else you'll just look like me yelling at an empty fireplace, hoping something else happens.
We're speaking to a man in a fireplace. What's your name? Michael? You hear Michael?
No.
I heard get off.
You heard what?
Get off. Do deep waters. Steps, ascend the steps. You're going up.
Alright, so you don't want Remso on the steps? That's it. Well, I'm gonna sit on the steps real quick. I want to see what's special about these steps.
Oh, you're gonna find out.
Hello. Oh, we're past the introductions.
We're making progress. We are.
Yeah.
That's where things start. But right there, when it just talks right back, it remarks right back to you. That's crazy. Ryan, can you rewind a few seconds? That little back and forth between Brian, whatever's there. I love that. That is the type of intelligent response that you wish you get more often. And at that point, we're getting some pretty generic responses, but as fast as it is to give him just the most apt answer for what he just said is crazy. Ryan, go ahead and play it.
If it's Brett, can you turn on both lights? Was it Ben? The light's here? Yes, the light's there. Turn them earlier. You turn. It's not a trick. It's not a trick. Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Are we speaking to the man in the fireplace? Are we speaking to the man in the fireplace? What's your name? Michael? You hear Michael?
No.
I heard get off.
You heard what?
Get off. Deep water. Steps, ascend the steps. You're going up.
Alright, so you don't want Remso on the steps? That's it. Well, I'm gonna sit on the steps real quick. I want to see what's special about these steps.
Hello. Oh, we're past the introductions.
We're making progress. We are.
Yeah.
Right there.
So Remso got off the steps. Now Ryan's on the steps. You want him to get off too?
They want it.
You want it?
Who wants the steps?
Is it the man in the fireplace? Okay. Wow. Get the thermo gun.
This is incredible.
You too. So put on either you or Ryan. There. I'm at 89. Point to Ryan. Ryan on the forehead. 89. 83. Are you the man in the fireplace? Stand up.
You know what's funny? I thought I felt like some hands like getting that up my shirt.
The back of your shirt?
Yeah.
It said stand up.
Are you touching my back right now? If someone is touching my back, I want those two lights to turn off. What the hell?
Did you turn that light on? Oh my God. Did you just turn that light on? Yes, what's the matter?
That's awesome! Can you turn that off?
Oh my God.
I've never seen that.
That's just the most creepy, uncomfortable laughter I've ever heard come out of you.
That's called a raw reaction. I was in shock because the light switch to that light
And fan was to my left. There was no way someone could turn that on. And I've walked through that entire restaurant, and there are no other panels that could control the lights in that place. And I was merely laughing because of everyone else's reaction. And I just was waiting to see what type of reaction Remso would have, because back then Remso would shit bricks easily over every little thing. So I was just like already preparing myself for what could possibly happen.
You guys turn that light on.
There's Brian having an existential crisis.
Absolutely. I was done it.
Look at all their faces. Do they look comfortable at all?
Ryan, stand up. Being disrespectful.
I'll stand up when that light is off.
Millennium.
I just asked, turn off the light, and someone was touching my back, and that turns on. Oh
Right there.
my god! I can't feel. Oh, I've never seen that. That is so cool. That is so cool.
Turn that light
Look at
on.
Russell's face.
Stand up. Stand up.
I'll stand when that light is off. Ooh, my elbow got cold.
Gun.
Oh.
Ryan's elbow.
Oh, this one.
Oh my gosh. 82. No. 79. It's off. It's that.
Oh my god, that's setting on and off. And I heard the word come through. Oh, that's so cool.
Pause. Yeah, pause it. It's
We
like,
could not have been the only ones to see that light turn off.
Brian, walk us through this.
Several emotions. One, just utter surprise that what was going on with the light. And then at the same time, I was kind of dealing with Ryan's reaction. And it's funny to hear him talk about how he was feeding off of our reaction, right? And so, and Remzo, you and I are just kind of like standing around like, holy cow, is this really actually happening right now? But yeah, I was actually starting to get concerned for Ryan, actually. I thought maybe something was going on with him. That
Laughter? That's
yeah,
possession shit.
yeah, exactly. I was like, we're gonna have to do an exorcism here.
Just like that laugh, like it doesn't sound like a funny laugh. It's more like I don't know how to react to this.
Didn't know how to react to it.
Yeah,
that was the most. By then, we had experienced a lot of things, but that moment was one of the most definitive turning points in at least my ghost hunting journey, because watching that happen was just it is still like easily one of the most insane things I've ever witnessed in my life.
Yeah, I will say this. Up until this point, I felt like, we would go out and we do this stuff and it was fun. There's something important about being a human being where you're just curious about things and you just want to find answers, right? And so that's the part of me that just really drives me to go out and do this stuff. But this moment at the Occoquan Inn really changed me from being like a full-on skeptic and just like, hey, this stuff can be explained somehow, to absolutely not. Like, this is absolutely unexplainable, right? And I can't stress it enough to the folks that are with us in the chat room right now that this was a moment for me where I realized I needed to do this forever and maybe get to the bottom of it, right? Somehow, knowing that I probably never will, but it's a driver for me now. At this point, I'm just forever hooked.
And one thing I want to point out is that besides the ceiling light turning off, I was getting touched. Certain parts of Remso's body was getting colder while the rest of us were warm. We were getting very clear and direct responses through the Phasmabox. Our little mini mag lights were turning on and off. There's a lot of stuff going on in this room, and I was literally at the edge of my seat. So when I was sitting at those steps, I was feeling someone kind of like pushing me a little bit, and then seeing those lights turn on and off 3 times, like, yeah, I just lost my shit. I just did not know how to react to all this. It was just a raw reaction. It's not like if you watch Travel Channel and if they're lucky enough to have a light turn on and off, they'll go, oh wow, yeah, that was great. Okay, yeah, guys, there's a human here. Aaron,
You're
go stay in the room.
Like you're lucky if you watch an entire season of I won't say which show, but you're lucky if you watch an entire season of one of those travel Discovery History Channel shows and they catch one of the things we did. Here we are in like 3 minutes, the entire place is just alive and crazy. And then just to have like I was satisfied with enough of that. Then to have the ceiling fan did what it did, and we point out, yeah, the controls are way over there. That is that moment made all the frustration, all the stuff that we had been dealing with that night so worth it. That's why we eventually came back again. And that right there is like, if I had to point out the one moment where it's like with Brian, yeah, there's no going back after this. It's that. Absolutely 110%.
Yeah, one thing I want to ask everyone is that when was the last time you saw Zach Baggins, Jason Hawes, or Grant Wilson have a raw reaction on camera? They're always very calm, and even Aaron's, dude, oh my god, it's starting to become gimmicky after a while. It's like, is that your only form of a raw reaction? Like, even besides my laugh, if you look at Remso and Brian's faces, it looks like they're trying to hold in a really bad shit. They were just uncomfortable. It was just very
hair. Yeah, like I felt every hair on my body stand up. Like I didn't know, like, you know, Ricky Bobby, like, what do I do with my hands? It's like I didn't know what to do. Like, do I turn off the light? Do I go over the wall and do that? Do I do anything else, or do I just stand there? So many thoughts were going through my head. I was just literally frozen.
Yeah, you don't know how to react to that stuff, right? I mean, that's a big takeaway for me is what I imagine someday we'll experience something like that, and maybe in season 2 we do. I don't know. But
do we?
We'll leave that for them to decide.
Yeah. Let's wait for that. You know, I imagine like it will happen again to us, and we'll have maybe a similarly random reaction to it, but you don't really understand how to, like, I remember I was more worried about, I think, you two than anything. Like, I felt like I needed to stay kind of there, understand what was going on, and like make sure I could punch something in the face or something. Whatever that would be, I have no idea. But I was like ready to defend, you know. And it was, but you know, at the same time, you're kind of taking in like, wow, this is really happening, and it's unexplainable. But it wasn't scary or threatening per se, but it was definitely like never was prepared to deal with something like this.
If it can do that, what else can it do?
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. That's a good way to put it.
This was one of those moments where it's like you're watching a TV show or a movie and you have that unexpected moment occur, and it's like, holy cow, I didn't see that coming, and you just start like laughing about it. Or you start watching a superhero movie and the villain gets killed off early in a way where it's like, holy shit. It's just one of those uncomfortable moments, and while most people would run out of a room if a spirit turns the light on and off, we just stayed there and took it all in. We're like, what do you do from here? I guess we'll just stay and see what happens.
And you have it on camera. I mean, all too often, like, we miss stuff like this because we're in between investigations, we're traveling, we're, you know, going from one room to the next, and that's when all the good stuff happens, right? This is one of those moments where, you know, we were there, we were recording, and yeah, it was just perfect.
Alrighty, let's get back to the show.
Oh my god!
What was that? What was that? Something just grabbed my back.
Oh my god! Oh my god! This is so trippy! This is so trippy! Oh my god! I only jumped off because I just remembered that if that light turned off, I would get up.
Point the gun at me again. Yeah. Ryan, what do you feel? Point the gun on my left hand. My left hand. Near my watch. 68. 65. I am stone cold freezing right now. Yeah, 67, 66.
Yeah, it's important to remind everybody that We're supposed to be 98 degrees roughly.
70.
Ice. Yeah, I feel like it's cold. It's ice.
70, 69.
Hello, is there anyone over here with us? Is there a woman over here? If there's someone over here, can you turn on one of those lights?
Do not go out.
Are you saying we shouldn't go up the stairs? Exactly? Is there someone upstairs? We shouldn't go talk to whoever's up there? Is that what you're saying? You know, the last time we were here, someone had turned on the light in this room. Can you do that again for me? Can you turn on this light again for me, please? What do you think?
Why
I just...
won't you listen?
Well, what are you trying to tell me? I don't understand.
I'm behind you.
You're behind me? Are you behind me? So what I'm going to do is actually sit on the stairs right here, because the last time I did that, someone told me to get off. And we haven't had any... What's that?
Get yourself up.
You have to make your presence known if you want me to get off these stairs. You're not really making any sense tonight.
Once.
Once what?
Get up.
Why don't you turn on this light again if you want me to get up? Or how about you turn on one of my little lights right next to my box, which is able to help us communicate with you.
They're useless.
The lights are useless?
Look up. You want me to go up the stairs? You want me to go up the stairs? Not that person.
You want me to go up the stairs? Did this room used to have any meaning to you? Do you have a personal connection with it? If there are any spirits in this building with us, can you please come over here and say hello? It's recording. Who just turned on that light right there? Where's the man that likes to roam around this place? bathroom upstairs.
upstairs.
He's the one that hangs out upstairs?
And you dare, you just listen.
So it is a man that's upstairs, isn't it? Someone told us it was a woman up there. Did they lie?
There's never been a woman.
Brian came into contact with a woman, and the woman said it was another female spirit that hangs out in there, makes people feel weird. So someone first told us there was a woman up there, then it was a child. Correct. And now you're telling me there's a man up there? If it's a man up there, can you turn off that light?
They're coming, you know the men.
Alright, well, we're waiting for them. They can come over here and say hello.
No.
The one who hangs out in the bathroom upstairs, what's his name? Does he not have a name?
Does it really matter?
Yes. It really does matter now.
More information.
Does he not have a name? Is he perhaps not a man?
Yes, he is.
He is a man, okay. If it's a man, can you turn that off?
He's resting.
I want everyone to remember that word resting for the next few moments, because it's got to play a very pivotal role in what's to come next.
You know him.
I don't.
Stop.
It was like a scream. I wouldn't say it was a stop. Has this spirit perhaps lived before? Has it walked on Earth? If it's walked on Earth, turn that light off. Okay. So it's not a D.
Yeah.
Alright.
What?
I just confirmed that it wasn't a demon.
What?
Communicating with spirits is a very complicated process, and you definitely have to be careful what you say a lot of times. And for this moment in particular, the spirits, they didn't sound very cordial. They were very hostile in a way. We were getting the screaming coming through. And 1 minute sound like we're talking to a woman, next a man, a child. And if you go to a lot of places, sometimes you're going to encounter more negative energies. And oftentimes it's not rare for those demonic beings to have different voices and all that. So at this moment in particular, I wanted to basically really figure out if we were talking to a non-human entity, also known as demons. However, we didn't have enough evidence to prove that. Usually we look for thickness in air, scratch marks, or whatever. But this time it was a little bit interesting, and I had to get that question out there before we continued our investigation, because I didn't want to be fooled by a demon who's pretending to be a human spirit. And what you just saw right here was I said, demon, and the spirit responded with, what? Where? They seemed very concerned. And I think what's very interesting about that moment is that it goes to show how intelligent they are and how much they've been able to learn in the afterlife. Brimson, do you have something you want to add to that, or are you good? All right.
Don't worry about it.
Do you want us to go upstairs?
Can we go speak with the one upstairs?
It's a man.
Can we go speak with him? So, there's someone upstairs in the bathroom resting. Well, why is he resting?
Come here.
Where?
Upstairs.
Are you the one that hangs out in the bathroom upstairs? Does it get out here? Yes.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't tell.
So just one last time before we leave this room, if it is a man up there, if it is indeed a man up there in the bathroom, turn that light on. Okay, so it is a man. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna get ready to go upstairs now. If it's safe for us to go up there, I'm not speaking to the one upstairs, I'm speaking to the woman down here. If it's safe for us to go up there, turn off that light. Turn off that light if it's safe for us to go upstairs.
No. It's not anymore. Is your name, what's your name? Does it start with an N? Yes. Please remind me. You said your name was Nicole?
Michael?
Michael?
Is there a Michael here?
Michael?
Okay, we're gonna get ready to go upstairs. If we are welcome upstairs, I want that light off. Turn that light off, we're welcome upstairs. Are we not welcome upstairs? Are we not allowed up there? We're not allowed up there, okay.
Brian, I've got to ask, what are your thoughts on this scene? I'm only asking because I know you weren't there and we were getting some pretty interesting responses, which are pretty different from what you may have encountered the night you were there. So what can you tell us about the scene from your perspective?
I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised at all. I think when I was commenting earlier on my investigation when I was in there, I felt like whoever I was in contact with was uncertain or was being coy. And I feel very much like when I watch this particular scene, I feel like some of the same things are happening. But what I will say, it's almost uncanny to me, is that there's so much focus on the upstairs, like regardless of, I feel like there was maybe 3 trips to the inn to like put this episode together, 2 or 3. I'm not sure.
Investigations, and then I went there a third time, which was after these first 2, and that was to collect the drone footage and interview Gary.
That's right. Yeah. So it seems like there's always this theme about the upstairs. You know, we move around the inn. We go to the bistro. We're in the more is it called the cafe? I think the other side that's a little bit more informal.
The grill.
The grill. Thank you. Yeah. And no matter where we were, it always seemed like everybody was talking about the upstairs. And then, you know, it was never clear about what was going on upstairs. So that's the big theme for me about the Occoquan Inn is when you go there, there's something about the upstairs for sure. And there are lots of unanswered questions about it. And I'm okay with that.
Like, to be honest, if we weren't told about what some people had experienced upstairs, and if I had never heard about the legend, I'm pretty sure I would have still thought, okay, there's something going on upstairs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not going to say that my prior knowledge of this place is what kind of set the whole tone and everything about this bathroom. It's the spirits that are basically saying, yeah, there's something going on up there.
Yeah.
The spirits were willing to talk about it. Then others were like, no, get out. We need to lock the room.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I don't think something special in particular happened in the bathroom. I think at one time the bathroom could have been a room. Gary mentioned this used to be a funeral home. Who knew? Who knows what went on up there?
Yeah.
What we do know is that the second floor of the inn, that's where guests used to stay and all, and that's apparently where that Native American man, the innkeeper's wife, had their thing going on.
Yeah, I remember thinking that there was definitely renovation at some point in the past. You could see it on the floors. So that when we went upstairs, there was sort of the big open space up there that we would congregate in. And I remember looking at the floors and commenting like that looked like there were walls in certain spaces or certain spots at one point. So things could have been reconfigured, and so it might not, like to your point, it might not actually be about the bathroom, but it could be something about that corner of that second floor. So yeah, it's hard to not get fixated on what you hear when you do these investigations, but you go on that in good faith. But there's definitely, I think if we went back and did another investigation there, which maybe we will someday, I think I would just go in like with a fresh set of eyes and maybe try to take a different angle and just try to understand things from a different perspective, I think, rather than focusing on the bathroom per se and the stuff that people experience there, and instead just kind of focused on more like what's going on upstairs in general.
I would even recommend like just sleeping on that floor. Typically we were out like around 4 to 5 a.m. But with enough of the stuff that we've already done, just doing an entire investigation, just concentrate up there, throw some sleeping bags there, maybe try falling asleep like around 10 a.m. and then seeing if anything kind of wakes us up, gathers our attention between 10 and 1, and then spending like 1 to 6 just trying to make communication if anything there and seeing if anything happens. That'll be it, because what we've seen often, and I mean the Graffiti House episode especially, like we're there for like 4 hours. I'm trying to sleep because I had just come back from work. Stuff is happening, stuff's waking us up, stuff is calling at us, stuff is moving. Like that's usually an element where right now we're active, we're in the moment, where all our senses are on alert. Sometimes when you're not, when you're least susceptible to being constantly alerted by everything going on and you're in kind of like that sleep state, it opens you up to a lot more. And sometimes if you're dealing with something that's smart and sentient, it could try and mess with you. So I think if we were to experiment with that, I definitely try saying, try sleeping, try relaxing, try not intentionally investigating, but just take it in, see how you react to the room and whatever's there.
Yeah. A little bit of foreshadow for season 2, because we actually do quite a bit of that. Right, we're sleeping over in locations for the first time, and that's a whole new experience, I think, for all of us.
It makes everything so much stranger, especially in the first episode of the Princess Street location in York. Sleeping in that place was almost near impossible.
Oh, I can't wait for this season to pop. June 1st, right?
June 1st.
Days away. 3 more days.
As we were wrapping up our investigation over in the part of the restaurant called the Bistro, Ryan felt a burning sensation on the side of his arm, and to our surprise, 2 scratch marks were seen.
Okay, so I'm heading back over to the area where I was just scratched. I'm gonna see if I can come into contact with any spirits and get verbal confirmation that there is something that scratched me. So let's get going. Okay, that's music from the bar in the basement. So I'm back in the area where Remso and we came into contact with multiple spirits. Came into contact with a woman, a man, and possibly another man. So 2 men, 1 woman. So my first question is, how many of you are here in the building with us tonight? Are you a man that I'm speaking with right now? Are you a woman? I keep hearing movement upstairs. Is there someone upstairs? Did you scratch me earlier?
Having not come into contact with anything, we decided it was time to conduct a second investigation on the second floor.
So I'd like to thank you for being so active with us tonight. I promise that we will not sit on the steps near the fireplace. Is there a chance that maybe we could talk a little bit more? My name is Remso. What's your name? Are you alone? If you're not alone, can you please turn on one of the lights? Can you please turn on one light or the other and let us know if you're alone? Is there a man here with us? Is there a woman? Is your lapel recording? No, my phone's at like 1%. Someone shine a light into the women's restroom. Oh, you were in there, weren't you? I saw you in there. What did you see? I saw like what looked like a kid peeping out. You want us to go in there? Both those torches have to go on, and then I'll go in that bathroom. Turn on the other one, now go in there. Brian, can you aim a light? Go in there. All right, I'm in the women's bathroom. Guys, there's like a cold draft in here. Renzo just saw someone in here. Do you usually hang out in this bathroom? I know I'm not alone here. What's your name? If you're in the bathroom with Ryan, can you please turn on the light? Oh, there we go. Should I tell him? Ryan. What? It's in there with you. I know.
Yeah, I definitely shit myself in that moment. Not gonna lie. I think my face said it all, though.
Can you tell me what your name is into this little box in my right hand? Air is super thick. My name is Ryan. What's your name? With me tonight I have Renzo and Brian. We're here to talk to you guys. We come here in no disrespect. The owner here, he knows about you guys. We're here to get answers. What's your name? If there's something that you want to say to me, you can say into this into this silver box in my right hand. Or you can perhaps turn on one of the torches in the room outside of me. We brought a lot of equipment so it's easier for you to communicate with us.
So those are the torches that Ryan's talking about right there, okay?
Are they on?
One's on.
Can you perhaps turn that one torch off for me, please?
Both are on. When you ask them to mess with the light out here, they're doing it. Oh, okay, that's shiz. What's wrong? Oh, that's just weird. That's weird.
Nah, I wonder if it's me, like...
No, that's why I had you jump. If that's it, turn on the light. Can you turn that off? I thought I saw something probably about this tall do this.
Huh.
And then go back. And as I was looking, it's like I saw it like right here. And then around like right before, I was like, hey, someone point the light over there. It did this. And I saw the sink. Now when I was looking, I knew that something was up because it's like the arm was covering part of the sink. So it's like something was in front of it. And then right before the light went there, I was like, wait a second, the match just, okay, that light just came off. You were in there? That was you I saw. That was you. Can you please turn off the light? Fine.
Yeah, I had this camera on.
Yeah, what I saw over there was real. It was something that was like the size of like a small boy. Like its skin was just like black, but not like a black child, like an African American child. It was like charcoal.
Yeah, so earlier I was explaining how what I saw around peek around the wall to the bathroom. As I mentioned earlier, I don't know if maybe that was my mind playing tricks on me or what have you, but definitely what I mentioned about, seeing someone in the bathroom, like leaning on the sink as the door was open, I still really visibly remember that. So while if something was peeking around the wall, I can't really state whether or not I still believe I actually saw something or if maybe I was just tired or not really paying attention. But definitely how I described that black mass in the bathroom, that I remember as clear as day, because I mean, even with the lights off, we're still able to see enough in low light conditions, but I could definitely see that black mass covering part of the sink because I looked at it and for a brief moment, and I hadn't been in there, I'm thinking, oh God, did like somebody break the sink? Is there a chunk of the sink off? No, then when I see something move and then I see the entire sink, I'm like, oh God, like that's actually there. So that I definitely still remember, and I'm convinced that was something.
Were you the same person that was downstairs with us? Were you the same one that was downstairs with us? Were you the one that turned the lights on downstairs?
Was Brett there? Was it Brett?
and talk to us? Send you all to the staff.
Is my alarm about to go off? That'll be the only reason why I go down there.
I didn't hear anything. I heard footsteps, I didn't hear the alarm.
So, first things first, someone downstairs told us that there is a spirit up here. It's a man who's resting in that room over there. If we are perhaps speaking with that man over there, can you turn on one of the lights on this table in front of me, please? It will help let us know that we're not alone up here. Is there a woman up here? Is that someone snoring?
Yeah, in this moment right here, we heard a man snoring very loudly from the bathroom that you just saw us investigating back in April. It was pretty damn loud. I will say before I started speaking right here, Remso and I had to make a couple trips up and down those steps to take some of our equipment up. And I was on the second floor by myself, and I just heard someone snoring. And to me, that just didn't make any sense. I did go look into the bathroom to see if it could have been like a plumbing thing or what have you that could have been making that noise, but I still heard the snoring, and I just couldn't pinpoint where exactly it was coming from other than it's in the direction of the bathroom. And I think what's pretty unique about this moment is that Remso and I, we both heard the snoring at the same time.
Yeah, and you confirm that it's actually not Remso taking a nap, right?
I heard that earlier.
Yeah, it sounded like someone was sleeping. Like,
someone sleeping?
I don't know why I shouted that out.
Let's go open that thing up.
wait, what?
Let's go open up that door. Maybe it's outside. Stand behind me. Get ready to SWAT kit this thing down. What the?
So what happened there?
Quite the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
What happened there? Very good question. So as I was getting ready to go kick down the door to the women's restroom, and the reason why I was like, okay, I'm gonna go kick this door down because I wasn't sure if, I don't know, someone had walked into the restaurant and just gone up to the bathroom and started taking a shit or whatever. I don't know. But as I was approaching the door, the motion sensor at the bottom of the staircase. So you usually, when you open that door to the end, it's supposed to let off a little alarm sound to let the staff know that there's some guests there. That night, it didn't do that at all. It also didn't even do that the previous time we were there. So this was the first time that I heard it go off, and I knew there was an alarm there because, one, the very first time I had eaten at that restaurant, I heard an alarm go off when I opened the door, and two, you could see the sensors at the bottom of the staircase. So for the sensors to go off as I'm getting ready to go in that bathroom, it's a coincidence, but it's pretty unexplainable.
All right, so
what could cause it
so
to
the
go off.
beeping that we hear is the door chime for the downstairs door, the main entrance.
Correct. So
Okay.
there's two entrances for the Occoquan Inn.
Right.
And this sensor that went off would be for the entrance that's right outside the staircase.
Yep.
So it would be the entrance for those going to the bistro to eat. If you're going to the grill, that's another entrance more to the far left of the building.
Yep.
And when I talked to Gary Savage about this moment, he was like, I don't know how to explain it. It never goes off on its own. The only time it goes off is during the day when someone opens that door. It's like,
That's comforting.
Yeah.
It's pretty unexplainable, and that freaks me out. I don't get scared easily anymore, but back then I was a little bit more nervous and all that. So
Me too.
another raw reaction right there, which is me going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, like this is, I mean, just really looking back, I didn't realize how quick the entity or more than one entities there were just trying to mess with us. Like, I never felt anything malicious while we were there, but definitely it's trying to psych us out. But luckily, Ryan was far too committed to capturing stuff, and I was far too tired to really care. So all this stuff is happening. A logical, sane person would have left, but we're just like, we're gonna need some more. We need more footage of this. And part 2 is out on our YouTube channel now. This is still one of those locations where often things don't happen immediately. But what you're seeing is, probably 24 hours of combined footage condensed into 2 45-minute episodes. When things happen, folks, like things happen fast. And often we really don't understand what it is we're even encountering until after we can look at the footage. And I can tell you, I watch enough of the episodes before and after they're put on air. We're still capturing stuff. That's why I love doing these live commentaries, because I'm watching this and I'm trying to remember, what really happened. That place was just like whatever's there, it messes with you. It wants you to leave, I think. I don't think anything there is malicious, nonetheless demonic. I think what you have is some minor poltergeist activity. I think I would classify it as a poltergeist haunting.
Yeah, I don't know who exactly is there, but the 2 times we're there, there's always a man and a woman downstairs. This is the first time the spirits had acknowledged that there's something going on the 2nd floor, and when you definitely press them for more answers, they will become defensive, because I did get scratched over in the bistro. You could see the red mark going down my hand. And usually when I get scratched, I'm like, okay, shit, I need to leave. But in this case, I'm like, okay, there's something about that bathroom up there. Clearly they don't want us investigating it because I just got scratched. We just need to go up there and see what the hell is going on.
Yeah, Remzo, you brought up a good point about the amount of time that we spend at a location compared to how Ryan is able to distill it down into a 50-minute episode. There's a lot, and what people don't see is like us in between sort of scenes, if you will, trying to figure out what to do next, sometimes arguing about, what we need to do, and compromising or deciding like, okay, we'll go back to this particular spot, later and do some follow-up. So you end up collecting several hours of footage, and we distill it down into a short period of time. Just and it really defines like what these locations are all about, I think, and that's like the power of being able to record this stuff and to be able to put an episode together. So everybody gets sort of like an intense version of the actual location. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure this is the only location we ever went back to. I mean, this is a 2-part episode, and what you've seen are condensed timelines from when it was just Ryan and I to when it was Ryan and Brian and I there. And I mean, this location, I mean, we're probably there for like 10, 14 hours. And it's always that 2 to 3 a.m. time block. It's always that actual witching hour where things just, come alive real fast. But it's a location where I swear if we went back again, we would have a completely different experience. Because every time we went back, we had a completely different experience. And it's what I am curious about is right now, a lot of these locations, especially areas that are abandoned, this is probably the longest they've gone without actually having people nearby. And, of course, it's because of social distancing and a lot of the pandemic lockdown requirement. But part of me is always curious, that old metaphor, like if a tree falls in the woods, does anyone hear it? I'm always wondering, especially during times like this, does stuff happen there when no one's around? Because if there ever was a place where I'm convinced that by the time Gary goes back, if let's say he hasn't been in the building for a while, something will have moved. Something will have set off a sensor. Maybe if they left a camera out or a security camera, something must have been caught, because that place is just active on a scale that, far and few places have ever actually been able to match up to.
I have to interrupt real quick. You mentioned that if we were to go back, we'd get an entirely different experience. Well, our friends at Portsmouth Paranormal Society, we've done quite a few investigations with them. So we had filmed at the Occoquan Inn spring of 2018. They actually went to the Occoquan in December of 2018. And they were like, Ryan, nothing really happened here. But we left some cameras up on the second floor and we captured the most impressive EVPs of our career. And I don't think I've actually ever shared with you guys, so I'm actually going to pull them up right now.
Oh, wait, the video's actually there?
Yeah, I'm not going to play all the responses, but I'm going to skip to the part where they captured the EVPs on the second floor. Because when Jason, the leader of Portsmouth Paranormal Society, he's like, "Oh, Ryan, check this out." I was like, "Holy shit, that is shocking."
This is news to me.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Why you been holding out?
What the hell, Ryan?
All right, let's get this rolling.
We're mad at the producer.
Absolutely.
Gotta let this intro play real quick before I skip ahead.
I like their style.
Very different.
Yeah.
They had their own touch to it.
Yeah, it's nice.
People say you like to turn on water.
All right, so they captured a lot of Phasmabox responses, but what I specifically want to focus in on are the EVP responses they get. And one of the things that's very unique about Jason and his team is that they actually purchase little action cams, which look like GoPros off the internet, and they actually modify them so that they can see in infrared. And these cameras always capture phenomenal apparitions or EVPs, and I'm always jealous. So whenever I have the chance to investigate with Jason, I'm like, Jason, you better bring those action cams with you because I definitely want to see what they capture here. And one of those amazing EVPs that I've been talking about is right here, where I won't spoil it for you. I'll let you hear it for yourself.
Holy shit.
You heard that?
Yeah,
Let's rewind it.
Yeah, I'll be quiet. All the leg hairs
on my legs just stood up.
So
what's going on over on the stairs?
It's a little time lapse, and they actually did a Phasmabox session over here.
Oh,
A lot
okay.
of their responses, they got different responses from us. I don't really think they were pretty direct because the name Matt is an investigator on their team. That name came through, as you can see right here. Jason's name was called out. But I'm looking at the time code down here, and I think it's about 1 a.m. And if you hear whistling at night, that's usually not a good sign. That's usually like a demonic entity calling you out. And there's a superstition that if you hear whistling in a haunted location, you whistle back, someone in your family's going to die.
Yikes.
So I've heard whistling before at an old asylum, and I'm just like, I ain't doing that shit.
Well, Ryan, you and I experienced that out doing, it wasn't an episode, but we were out on Featherbed Lane, I think it was, and we heard that.
Oh, yeah.
There was
There's Fleetwood Church. Was Fleetwood Church in season 1?
Yes.
Yeah, there was one time where Ryan and we thought we heard voices. We thought we heard cop cars roll up. So we walk out of the church with our hands up because, you know, we're worried that like somebody called the cops. So we go outside. There's nothing there. And we're like, what the hell is going on? We walk back into the house and we open up one of the windows to get some cool air in, and we hear whistling. So I look at Ryan and I'm like, oh my God, someone's screwing with us. So I whistle back and he grabs me and he's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
He's calling me. I'm like, I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to mess with that. So, yeah, I mean, that whistling right there. I mean, we've been there on cold nights. We've been there on windy nights. We've been there on hot, muggy nights. So, I mean, we've heard all the noises you could get from there. That is without a doubt a whistle that could only come from a person, even maybe a disembodied person. So there's no way, because I mean, thinking about like the skeptic side of my brain is thinking, oh, maybe it's wind. Oh, maybe it's somebody else there. No, those cameras were there because nobody was there. So it's absolutely phenomenal that they were able to capture that, because that's a unique phenomenon that, I mean, on the 2 occasions we went there, we didn't capture that. We had some repetition, but that's incredibly unique.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they're even getting really possessive over those short stairs that take you to the gourmet dining hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you hear somebody say, get up, right? I mean, we experienced that ourselves.
Ryan, did you share any evidence of them? Like, did you tell them kind of what to expect before they went there? Or are they really just getting this for the first time?
This was them getting it for the first time. I don't recall sharing evidence with them. Most investigators I know, they don't really want to know the specific details about my experiences. They're usually like, is it worth going to or not? And I said, yes, this is definitely a place worth going to. Like, okay, who do we reach out to? And that's about it. I'm pretty sure they did do their own research beforehand about the history of the place. I know they met with Gary that night, and I'm pretty sure Gary told them what he tells everyone, which is about like, hey, focus in over here. Some people have encountered this and other things, but I don't think Jason watched our episode because I think he wanted to go in with a blank mind. But they get some pretty interesting responses, and I rewinded their clip a little bit because I definitely want everyone to hear how this night, which is about 7 months after we were there, the spirits there, they still don't want anyone on those steps, which is weird.
Yep.
What's my name?
Jason is the guy sitting on the steps, and obviously you could hear his name coming through the Phasmabox.
Yep.
Class A EVP. That was an EVP capture. And when I spoke with Jason after he had shared with me his evidence, he was like, we didn't hear any of that. We didn't hear any of that. So let me read it again.
I don't remember all those tables being up there when we were up there.
So they use the second floor as like an event venue, or if there's an event going on in the bistro, that's
Yeah.
like extended tabling. I know they do like holiday themed dinners there, and because they expect a larger crowd to come through, they do seat people up there.
Yeah, this was all done on December
7th,
7th.
so it would have made sense that they were getting ready for like the Christmas and Hanukkah crowd.
Yeah, or post Thanksgiving or whatever. Yeah.
What the fuck?
What do you guys hear?
I can't tell what I heard, but it sounded like somebody was asking a question.
It sounded like a man.
Yeah.
All right, guys, get ready. Brian, turn up your volume if you haven't already.
Okay. Wow.
So Remso obviously heard it. Brian.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, my eyes are tearing up.
That is nuts.
Rewind it.
Way to end the video.
Yeah.
Like all my freaking arm hairs just stood up.
I mean, the only thing that I could even imagine is maybe there were people out on the street and they were picking that up, but that was very loud and very clear.
So what Jason does is when he captures an EVP on his cameras, he will look at the footage from his other cameras at that specific moment to see if it could be someone outside or if they captured it on there, because if that same EVP is captured on multiple devices, then obviously it's probably not paranormal. But if it's on one camera and the others, they don't capture it, it's pretty unexplainable. And I will say that the walls at the Occoquan Inn are pretty thin, so it would be easy to assume that it could be someone outside, but that is a Class A EVP. And he definitely believes it's a Class A EVP. He wouldn't have put it out there if he had any doubt of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I only bring it up because I remember the building is so old that there's single pane glass on the windows, right? Things like that. You know, when you are in a building that old, the acoustics are interesting because not only is the exterior brick, but the interior can be brick. You know, things like that. So sound will bounce around in different ways. So that's why I asked. But yeah, I would love to be able to talk to Jason about that someday.
That is some of the best EVP evidence I've ever heard. But that, I mean, just the tone of it. Like there's a club. Like I think, I don't know if the club is connected to the building in the basement or if it's the bar next door, but I think it's in the second part. We had some problems because we could hear people partying, we could hear the music and stuff, and like around 1 a.m. when they had to kick out everyone, that's when it stops. I mean, based off the time, assuming, and I remember December 7th, 2018, because I'm pretty sure I was actually getting a surgery that day. I remember that was a Saturday. Around that time, I mean, the club may have been on. I mean, the club may have been open or something. So that's what I was thinking. Like maybe it's the club. But I mean, two things. One, based off the time, everyone should have been kicked out. So you only have employees. Two, you just listen to that tone. That's not somebody, laughing. That's not somebody being sarcastic. Just from what I can infer, it sounds like somebody that's really, in a sense of dread. So just that right there, that blood curdling, oh my God, like that. I lean more towards the side of, I really do think what they captured was an extraordinary paranormal phenomenon.
Yeah, definitely. Their words can't describe what we just listened to other than it's very unexplainable. And what's interesting is that they captured an EVP of a man talking upstairs, and then they captured an EVP of a woman in pain. So that confirms our suspicions that there's at least two spirits at the Occoquan Inn. One's a man and one's a woman, and that's pretty mind blowing in my opinion. That other people have been able to come into contact with the same spirits that we did.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Really, this is an example of a location that has a consistent haunting. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but for episode 1 of season 2, the location at Princess Street, I think this is probably the first location we've ever been where I don't feel confident saying that I believe there's a genuine haunting occurring. I believe that at that location that there is some paranormal activity, but I don't think any of it is fixed to the house. I think if you cleaned up the house and you actually had people in there and stuff, I think whatever is occurring would go away. But consistent haunting means you're going to get very specific reactions from the entities there. You kind of understand who's there. It's pretty reliable in terms of the people of the spirits you're going to come across and some of the things you could expect, whether it's motion presence, whether it's how they interact with certain gadgets and techniques. That's how you find the consistent haunting. So this location, I mean, it's a prime example of a consistent haunting from what you saw with how the reactions between the entities and the investigators were on the stairs to what they captured on the second floor, the emphasis on the second floor. And then you've got other stuff where it's like, at the Princess Street location, I mean, I hope that you all really pay attention because I do believe that stuff is happening there. But I also believe that there was a change in the ambiance, if there was a change in how the home was. I think that whatever, like grifter ghosts are there, I think they'd probably move away. I don't think there's any spirit or entity which is really trapped or fixed to that home. But that's just my opinion. But I mean, I say this all to point out that, every location really is different, but some locations do offer a great example of a genuine haunting.
Yeah,
couldn't have said better.
Very well said. All right, guys, that pretty much wraps up tonight's live stream. As a reminder, the season 2 premiere of The Witching Hour will be this coming Monday, June 1st. 8 public access stations nationwide will be airing the season 2 premiere episode throughout the week at different air times. So I highly encourage you to visit our website, www.argosparanormal.com/The Witching Hour to check your channel listings today. Not only that, but if you visit the news section of our website, I published a blog post tonight where I give you a behind the scenes look at what you can expect from the Princess Street episode, which we've been talking about this evening. So you're going to see never before seen investigation stills from the episode. I include some links to some pretty amazing pieces of evidence, such as a door being caught on camera closing on its own, and a bunch of other stuff that you're probably going to want to see before watching the episode. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Subscribe to our email list if you haven't already. And I hope everyone will enjoy this season 2 premiere.